a structure of mystical and alien origin, emanating particles of abstract perspectives and reflection into the expansive nightscape to those who know where to listen. This is Monolith de Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 8 of Monolith de Mythos, the Monstro Studio podcast. I am Manuel, and we have here once again Trey Spells.
Hey, what's up?
What's up? Not much. What's going on with you? Other than your new song coming out. Or is already out. I just remembered now.
Yeah,
we should probably talk about it.
Yeah, it came out. It's called Mystifying, and I finally created a chorus on a song, and I don't usually do that because it just makes the song longer. And
yeah,
I feel like nowadays, once you create a chorus on a song, you don't have to go back to it unless it's gonna be a smash hit in the club. You know what I mean? Then if it's something to repeat, then you can make a chorus. But
it's a nice little band.
Something that's catchy too, you know.
Yeah.
But if it's just like these, SoundCloud rapping songs, which it kind of is.
It's a nice chant too.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah, and it's actually probably one of my longest songs. I think it ends at 3 minutes, but it does have like a 35-second intro. But
and you always talk about how you pay attention to pop music, rap music, anything popular going out. It's always, especially SoundCloud and Spotify music, club music, it's getting shorter and shorter.
Yes.
And for the past few songs you've done, Final Fight, Arrival, they like clucking around like 2 minutes at most, if not a minute and a half.
Yeah. That's
so it's interesting to see a longer song coming from you.
Yeah, because if it's not on the radio, even radio's kind of shorten songs down too,
Yeah.
But most of the time, music isn't made like it used to, where you enjoy a full 3 to 5 minute song anymore. The time span is so short on people these days, especially when you make music. You want to attack the youthful age, the teenage, because those are the ones that are going to be listening. They're going to be the ones who talk about your music the most, So their attention span. Attention span with the time span, it's got to click with them. If a song's too long, they're not going to talk about it. It went over their head, But
or it could be like some people I know that they only listen to songs for the beat.
Yes, which is the majority of rap.
I won't mention names, but yeah.
It's majority of rap music nowadays.
They don't even listen to the song, but I like where you've got it going in Mystify, because it is a really it's just like a fun kind of like just chorus like chant to say over and over again.
Yeah,
Mystify.
It's got a groove to it, Even though it's a dark song, it's got a groove to it. It's not dark lyrics. I choose dark beats, but I lighten up the beat with my lyrics. It makes it. It gives it a balance of light and dark on the song.
Yeah,
so
it's very, very cool.
Yeah,
and it's on Spotify now.
Yeah, it's on Spotify and iTunes and all those other media outlets or music streaming outlets. And nice. You just type in Trey Spells, TREY space SPELLS. It's not on YouTube yet. I've kind of been slacking on YouTube because I've been so focused on the others and stuff, which I think is kind of more important, Spotify and all that. Like, you want to get your songs on there and make sure they're on there first, because YouTube's not going to pay you for those views yet until you're like in the thousands. So, and it's just nice to open up Spotify and finally appreciate my own songs that I did, and finally be on there. It feels kind of cool. It only took a few years. So, and not all of my songs are on there. It's making me go back and finding these producers and letting them know, like, hey, you got to buy the license to this beat now. I'm trying to make it more serious, stuff like that. So that's kind of the 2020 Trey Spells, is making it more mature of what I've already done, and which I kind of didn't do. I just kept making demos and demos and demos, So that's the stage we're in right now, is maturing the Trey Spells.
Hella legit.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah. So have you got to get anything going on?
Nah, I can't say that I have. Nothing really interesting.
Yeah. And you can't go out and do much because it's too fucking hot here in Arizona. So it gets you a lot of time to do projects, podcasts, songs, anything.
Unless you're kind of lazy like I am, just spends all the time watching YouTube and trying to get sleep.
But that's the thing, though. In the summer, you're allowed to do it because it's too fucking hot to be outside. You don't want to dehydrate.
Exactly.
You don't want to sweat through your clothes. Like I'm doing it at work, and it's so uncomfortable. You know, it's the way it is. So
I guess maybe that's why this morning I was kind of just like, fuck it. I already have Xbox Live, so I'm gonna look up the price for Game Pass and get it.
Oh.
And then I found that they had Ultimate Game Pass, which is both Xbox Live and Game Pass.
And you get discounts too, right?
Yeah, it's discounts. And instead of paying $10 for Xbox Live and $10 for Game Pass, you get it for both for $15 a month, and the first month of Game Pass is $1.
Oh wow!
So that's pretty cool.
That's the first month.
Yep.
You get for $1. Nice. That's pretty cool. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, mainly I also got it too after I found out that Nier Automata is on it.
Oh, okay. So have you started downloading that yet?
Oh yeah, it's downloaded now. I haven't started it yet, but I've been looking a lot into it, and without going too much into like spoiling anything, like the premise and all, it's fun. You got robots 10,000 years in the future fighting machines with katanas.
Oh, nice.
And that's all fine and dandy, but then you actually get into the meta narrative of the game structure. And as far as I'll get into it, to play the full game, you have to play it the whole thing 3 times.
Yeah.
Because with each playthrough, you get a different perspective on a different character, and you play as them, and
so
you get different sides of the story.
So it's the same story but different sides of the story?
Yep.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. That will make somebody play a game over and over. You know. Yeah, when you start playing that more, let me know. I will shoot on by. I want to see some of it being played.
Sweet.
Yeah. So have you already started again with it?
Not yet. Okay. I'll probably get to it later on tonight.
Oh, all right. How long does it take you? You think it'll take you to beat?
I think like around 8 hours, maybe. Well, because I wanted to try to explore everything and get to a lot of the side quests.
So about 8 hours per perspective.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome, man. Well, definitely have to check that out when you play it.
That's what I got looking forward to.
Cool.
Honestly, like, I'm kind of wishing that there was more like movies to look forward to. I know you've always been talking about like Tenet.
Yes.
How that keeps getting pushed back.
Yes, Christopher Nolan's next big movie. God, I forgot the original date. I think it was supposed to come out early July, then middle of July, and then August 12th is what they set their sights on for a while, which is my birthday, so, you know.
Yeah.
I prefer it to come out on that day. It's a Wednesday, too, which is kind of interesting.
And if they ever do open up the movie theaters again, I'm pretty sure they will by August.
Yeah.
I'd be totally down.
Yeah.
Hazmat, face mask, gloves, sanitizing wipes, and
wear some throwaway sweaters or something, throwaway clothes. I'd do it, you know.
Sit in a theater with like 10 rows of seats all around you empty, which I would really prefer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to sit in like a crowded theater.
I really wonder how they were gonna do that. So I would like to know their game plan on how sitting people. Obviously, it'd be like, I think they were gonna go by groups too. Like if you're in a group, then you can sit next to each other. If you're not in a group, then it has to be spaced out.
Yeah.
I feel like because I was trying to learn some of the rules with the Disneyland rides that opened up. I don't know if it was the Florida one. I think it was the Florida one.
Yeah, I think it's just Orlando is open.
You know, Florida don't care about nothing.
Yep.
But I was learning how they're doing stuff with their rides. Like everyone's separate unless you're in a group. Then you get to be together and stuff like that. So I think the movie rules would be a lot easier. They just probably need more workers to organize this or type thing. But then again, they don't, like, the person that rips off your ticket, like, I know where my movie's at. You don't gotta tell me if it's to the left or the right. That job right there could get people going.
Mm-hmm. I don't want you touching my ticket.
Yeah. So the movie theaters probably just have to redesign the way they do things.
And they'll probably also be doing what they should have been doing for the get-go the whole time, was clean out their theaters.
Yeah.
Sanitize all the seats after each viewing.
Yes.
Get the steam cleaner on them seats.
We'll see on what happens,
Oh, yeah.
But I'm hoping August 12th will be the date.
For sure. Mm-hmm. And hopefully we'll have more of the independent theaters opening up too, because I do miss Film Bar.
Oh yeah, me too.
And I miss the Alamo, even though I think they might have gone bankrupt or filed for bankruptcy in
them too?
The state of Arizona.
Because I know AMC was at that stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about AMC doing all that?
Yeah, and I guess Alamo, they're just hightailing it out of Arizona. They want to stay in Texas, maybe California.
Oh.
Sucks too. They just opened up a new theater in Gilbert.
I know, and all of them were so
just
nice.
Last year.
Yeah, and at least I got to go there a couple times. You want to get into some movies here that we watched throughout these scenarios of life?
Yeah. So speaking of movies, what have you been watching, Trey Spells?
Well, the first one I watched was a movie called "Don't Worry, He Won't Get Far on Foot," and
long title.
Yeah, it's an interesting title. Probably why it wasn't really talked about much. You know how like long titles don't get talked about much. But Joaquin Phoenix is the star, and I've been trying to catch up with his movies lately, ever since I watched The Joker, because I know I haven't seen a movie before The Joker in a while from him. So I was like, I'm gonna catch up on some. So I watched a couple other ones too, but I'll get into that another time. But I watched this one, and it's from 2018, so it's not even that old, and it's based on a true story about this guy named John Callahan, and which he's like a cartoon artist, and he writes. So let me start off with he goes to a party, he meets Jack Black, and Jack Black's there, and he's the guy that they go to a party, and then they go to a bar, and then they on their way to another party, but then they end up hitting like a street pole or something. Jack Black ended up with 2 scratches, and then Joaquin Phoenix ends up being paraplegic. Is that how you say it? Yeah. So
paralyzed.
Yes, from the waist down. So like he has some arm strength, but not enough to even write with his hand.
Damn.
So when he writes and when he got into cartoons, he had to use his 2 forearms and put them together to draw these cartoons. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And I guess he made like really funny cartoons. He made racist cartoons and but like good funny racist cartoons. And they would always be in the newspaper and stuff like that. And and he goes to Alcohol Anonymous because he's still struggling with alcohol, even though he's like that. And the teacher is Jonah Hill. So I thought that was kind of a weird cast. So
interesting, yeah.
So Jonah Hill is teaching him how to better his life, and Jonah Hill, man, he really is a great actor. Over time, I'm starting to learn. He just really sells his roles nowadays.
Mm-hmm. He has pretty good range.
Yeah, and I think he's just getting better. And the way he looks, it's just like every movie he looks so different.
Yeah.
Like he gains weight, loses weight, grows a beard, loses a beard.
Yeah, I have been noticing that.
So
good on him.
Yeah. So yeah, all the chemistry between the actors were great. And and so it's based on a true story too. And I just thought it was a good movie. It's a good motivational movie. I've been trying to watch true story movies lately. I don't know why. They just feel more real, I mean, not that they weren't real, but like the different inspiration you get from a true story movie. You know, like it builds you up after the end of the movie. Like, all right, he went through some struggles, and then after the movie's over, you're like, I want to do that. So.
Not the kind of based on true stories, like The Haunting in Connecticut or The Strangers, based on true events.
Yeah, none of those stories where you're gonna end up in death and haunted the rest of your life. This is where you're like at the shitty moments of your life, and you know you can change it, but you don't change it. You need to find that motivation. And so yeah, it was a great true story. And John Callahan is the real guy's name. He died in 2010, I believe. And yeah, the cause of the death was just his respiratory system from being paraplegic. So
that sucks.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a way to go.
Yeah, he did almost make it to 60 though. So he was very positive though at the, he went to colleges and spoke about his life. So it's not like he was, miserable the whole time. That was more of the beginning of his life, but then he turned it around. He even went to Jack Black, the guy that got him into a car accident, right? Because Jonah Hill said, go and apologize to everyone in your life, everybody, and see what difference he makes. And it was really cool because I was like, yeah. You get rid of all your grudges and get rid of all this stuff. So he went to Jack Black, the guy that caused them to be that way, and that was an emotional scene. I thought it was really good on Joaquin Phoenix's part.
And it's a good message to have too, because a lot of people don't really understand right away that apologizing is not so much about forgiving them, letting them know they're forgiven, but it's about basically, in a sense, forgiving yourself. Just getting that weight off of you. So
that's what I meant
to send out.
That's what I meant to say too. He was forgiving himself. And the scene with Jack Black and him, that forgiveness moment was really crazy. Jack Black did a good job, being emotional and a different acting than what you're used to. Because can you imagine like you cause an accident and you see this guy that you caused to be that way, like how you're gonna feel and thinking about that the rest of your life. And
I would want to fucking kill myself.
Right.
I honestly don't know how I would keep on living, and I don't think I would go back to a normal life after that.
Yeah, and that's what Jack Black was saying. Like there was even a crying moment between him, because like when he first saw him, he was like, "Oh shit, like you're here."
Yeah.
Like fuck. So that was a great scene.
Yeah, Jack Black is a really good, just like Jonah Hill. He's also a really versatile actor. He has a lot of good range, especially, I want to say, like one of the most serious roles I've seen him in was in Bernie.
Oh, I love Bernie.
Another based on a true story.
Yeah, I love that Bernie movie. That was during the time where I wanted to be an embalmer or funeral director, and I watched that movie.
Yeah, that's right.
And I was like, look at this one-man over here. He was doing it all. He was meant for that. But yeah, that was a great range too of him acting in that. I'm surprised I just now realized they chose Jonah Hill and Jack Black, two comedians, to play like more of a serious role. It's kind of interesting. But so yeah, that's that movie. IMDb gave it a 6.9 out of 10. I'm gonna just go round it up to a 7. It was good.
Nice.
It's not the most exciting movie, but what else can you do with it? You know what I mean? The guy was inspiring. He got rid of the alcohol, which is, I know, tough on a lot of people. And I like to watch more of those type of movies, the inspirational true story ones, not the Haunting in Connecticut and shit like that. It's funny because I used to get excited for those, like, oh, this is based on a true story. How fucking wicked! Oh my god, how wicked, man! But yeah, that's that movie. So you were telling me about a movie called Love that you watched.
Yeah,
let's get into that one.
Because what is love? Love is life.
Yeah,
live,
laugh, love. Yes.
Talking specifically about Gaspar Noé's Love.
Yeah.
And Gaspar Noé is a really interesting director that I like to keep in mind, as well as on the lookout for whatever he's doing next. and I was I'll oftentimes like while I'm watching a movie, like I'll message other people or go into group chats, going over, talking about what I'm seeing, because I just want to get. I'm all about right now just trying to get my friends to watch the craziest shit I can find. I feel like I've done a pretty good job over the years of that.
Oh yeah,
and especially with you.
I think all the
watching.
time you won't find a basic generic movie for us to watch, and you won't even like what do you call that? You won't even like it'll be maybe a couple months too without you suggesting a movie if you have to. If we have to wait, we have to wait. You won't give us some garbage ass bullshit. You give us the real deal.
And Gaspar Noé's Love, like forever, for whatever reason, it was one of those movies where I'll keep on the back burner, even though I really like the director. I love all his other movies. I guess just because the time it came out, it definitely would not have gone into theaters because of how just graphic, and it's a third, if not half, of the movie is just hardcore porn. But
Yeah.
It's hardcore porn in which if they were to make it like this, like I don't think people would be aroused by it because it's shot with really nice cameras, really great cinematic lighting, which is something you're not used to. It still gets up close, but it also at times it can get up too close, like that Snapchat I sent you, where it's just straight on the guy's hard dick as she's jerking him off, and it shoots right into the camera. And I actually got pretty upset halfway through watching it because I realized that when it came out at least at the Cannes Film Festival, I'm not sure if it even, this is another reason, not just because half of it's porn and the movie would have been X-rated, so getting theater distribution would have been a nightmare in the United States.
Probably,
but
yeah.
Also because it was originally released in 3D. Did you know about that?
I didn't know about that. That's interesting.
So when it came out, it was originally called Love in 3D or Love 3D. And so I'm pretty sure the whole movie was shot with 3D cameras as well. So you have these nice, like, long takes. Each scene is like one long shot, one take. Just one angle. The camera hardly ever pans. It's always just straight on, either moving backwards or forwards or side to side.
Yeah.
But it never like tilts or pans. Not often.
Yeah.
And then it kind of starts off like that, so the movie's kind of slow. And honestly, that's another reason why I feel like watching the movie you can't really get aroused from all the sex going on, is because it drags on. I was actually getting kind of bored watching a lot of the sex scenes.
They were kind of long, right?
What up?
You said the sex scenes are dragging on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was watching it, I was watching it with one other roommate, and I just kept looking like, was this like 5 minutes now? of the same scene. Like,
I would have been in bed by now.
Yeah. And she put this movie on. It was a girl, and I was just like, I was like, have you seen this movie before? And she's like, no, I have not. I was like, okay. I try to make conversation during the sex scenes. That's how long they are. You can get a couple topics out. But yeah.
Luckily, the movie the movie's interesting because it has this style, this nature of it that it's going for, but it also knows how to adapt as it goes along. So you're never actually bored. Like I'll say the scenes drag on, the sex scenes drag on, but over time it does actually change camera angles. I want to say it starts off. I would say like the first act is like it cuts to a new scene, so one scene is one shot, and then the second act cuts on a beat, which is like a change in tone, a change in mood. So at first the conversation is, and the dialogue in the movie is also really good too. the conversations are kind of like start off happy, and then it cuts, and then now they go into like a more serious, like a angry, sad tone, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the third act, it gets a little more frantic. The way that the movie holds on to these shots and it doesn't cut away for a really long time. You start to notice some things, especially with the sex scenes, how it's trying to tell its story. Because I'll bring it up time and time again. It's not the story that you tell, but how you tell it is what I'm more interested in.
Yeah.
Movies, whether you know it or not, whether you want it to or not, every single moment, every single item in the frame, the way that people are positioned, the movements, it's all planned. It all has purpose. Every single detail has a reason for it. You don't have to dissect it all in order to enjoy something, but it's still fun to point some things out. One of the things I noticed, especially for anyone, I obviously recommend watching the movie. When you try and look at how people are positioned when they're having sex. Mm-hmm. The first half, everybody is kind of pointing towards the right. Mm-hmm. They say that the hero's journey goes from left to right. Mm-hmm. So that means, things are good. Then, like, when they start introducing another girl in it, everything's centered kind of in the middle, but there are still some shots pointing to the right. Yeah. But then in the later half of the movie, when the relationship starts to get rocky, the sex becomes a little more monotonous, kind of just like, we're trying to be happy, so we have to keep fucking in order to be happy with each other. That's when everybody starts pointing to the left. Oh, wow. And once you hear this, you're going to start noticing it everywhere.
I feel like I'm already going to start now.
Mm-hmm. That whenever like someone is looking to the left side of the screen, or they're like facing it, or they're facing the left side of the screen, they're usually in the wrong, or they're stuck in something that they don't like. They're like trapped. And that's essentially what the movie is telling you, like psychologically.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I love those kind of things.
I never looked at it that way. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
But now that you've heard of that, you are going to start looking at it that way. And yes. I kind of realized too right now, I haven't even gotten into what the story is about, but I don't really need to, because it's honestly not so much what I'm interested in, because I'm really more interested in talking about how the story is told. And it also, I brought up earlier, I got upset when I realized the movie used to be in 3D, because I feel like it would have really benefited from it being in 3D, because it still has those like funny, like, like, haha, there's a dick like pointing right at you on the screen, it's right in your face, and stuff like that. Like every 3D movie has that gimmick, but good 3D movies, especially when they're filmed in 3D, it creates an incredible sense of depth to where you feel like you're in the same space, you're in the same room as the characters. So you're with them when they're having an argument. You're with them when they're fucking for 5 minutes straight. Yeah. You're with them through everything, and even like really intense, polarizing moments that Gaspar Noé is like really well known for, and like he's like one of the few like directors who has like moments in movies that makes me think, oh God, I am just uncomfortable right now. I hardly get that feeling anymore.
Yeah. That's how I feel when you show me any movie from you. for one of your titles that you showed me.
And that's kind of like mostly I wanted to talk about
on the movie Love.
Yeah, about love. There's not really too much else. I guess just story wise, it was an engaging kind of love triangle kind of story. Mm-hmm. Though you start to hate on the main character more and more, justifiably hate the main character. Mm-hmm. Like at least he somewhat has that redeeming mark, even though like at the end is probably like one of the most like polarizing implied moments in film that I've ever felt. Yeah. and I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, especially for you, because I want you to watch it again and like. Because do you remember what happens at the very end of the movie? Like the very end, within the last minute before they start rolling the credits.
I remember a bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
Was that in the end?
Yep. But
I think
that's all. That's all you can, as far as you can go with it, though. That's as far as I'll let you go with it.
I like to see it in 3D. That'd be great. I'd watch it again like that. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm. I would love to like find anywhere to see it in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Love 3D.
Yeah.
And
so you want to do the rating for it?
Yeah.
So this came out in 2015, 5 years ago. 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb. Would you like to give it?
I want to bump it up all the way to an 8.
All right, a nice 8. I did want to ask your last question.
Yes.
Without getting into the movie climax or Into the Void, because those were the other 2 movies I seen. Where do you stack number 1 being the better version of these 3? Since you've seen those 2 also. I know Climax is the latest one. Enter the Void was the first one.
Enter the Void was the first one we saw. I think the second of Gaspar Noé's movies. And Love is still good, but I definitely want to put that at 3rd.
Me too.
And
I'm gonna go with that, but 3rd too.
Yeah, and it's hard to say where to.
Do you want to hear mine first?
Yeah, even though I kind of have it already in mind, I think we might agree. But you go ahead and you say yours first.
It's such a tie. The reason I have to go with Climax first is because I was seeing it in theaters and I had my full attention and like I was just gripping my chair the whole time. Yeah. Because it was just constant things happening. You couldn't look away for a second or you're going to miss a whole part. You couldn't go to the bathroom for a second. But then again, it's like it's hard to compare the 2 because Enter the Void was your movie type. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot better than Love to me. Enter the Void was just such a crazy experience. It's like I
want to say if Irreversible was it Gaspar Noé's magnum opus, which is like his big hit. Yeah, I would say Edge of the Void would have been his magnum opus.
Which I still need to check out that one. Oh, it's on Prime. I can always check it out on there. Yeah, you can rent it.
Hell yeah.
$3.99.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Check it out on Prime. Hell yeah.
That is, I say his name again. Gaspar
Noé's Love. It's on Netflix. Everybody should definitely check it out. Maybe by yourself.
Yeah.
You might want to find somebody that or if you are gonna watch it with other people, make sure that you're all comfortable watching just tons and tons of sex going on, and they're not hiding anything either.
No, they're not. It's all in your face. It's really in your face.
I'm surprised that it's even on Netflix, but it is a work of art. As pornographic as it looks, contextually, it really doesn't get you aroused. Maybe at first, but then you're just like, oh wait, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should calm myself down before we start getting freaky with each other.
What the fuck?
Speaking of sex, polarizing sex scenes, we have our topic movie of the episode, which is Lars Von Trier's Antichrist.
Yes. And don't get the title wrong. It's not what you think. Well, it could be what you think. But
it's
in a way you wouldn't think.
In its own way.
Yes.
More... the context of it goes more into... It does go into the ideologies of evil. What is evil? Who is evil? It is a slower burn. It literally starts with slow motion. A lot of I want to say that this started what a lot of newer Lars Von Trier films are doing, which is use phantom cameras to shoot certain scenes and certain shots.
Now, what's a phantom camera?
It's a digital camera that is able to shoot at 10,000 frames per second.
Okay, so is that like the slow motion scenes that we kind of saw?
Exactly.
Which I thought were brilliant. They were they're enjoyable watching. It's not your regular slow motion, which is what I've learned, right? Because when we first put it on, I think the first scene was like that, right? With the shower scene.
Yep.
So
everything was all in black and white. Everything in the shot was crisp. It knew what it wanted you to focus on.
Yeah.
And not only that, there was so much detail in what it wanted you to focus on.
And that's how I knew something was different. Something was different about this film by seeing that one scene.
Especially in repeated viewings, when you watch it again, you realize there are a lot of details in the opening prologue scene that come into play later on. I was even pointing stuff out to you, which like the shoes, the placement of the shoes, and there's also little statues of despair, grief, and pain, which ended up being the names of the chapters, like 2, 3, and 4.
It's funny about the shoes when you said, "Oh, pay attention to shoes; they'll mean something later." I'm just thinking, what the hell would that be used for? But then the sense of it made so much more sense later on.
Oh yeah, the context. So there's actually a lot going on, like a lot more than you realize. I can't really say the same thing for the rest of the movie, because from what I understand, Lars Von Trier made Antichrist when he was in a really depressed state of mind, and that led on to Melancholia, which I brought up an episode or two ago.
Yeah,
as well as Nymphomaniac, as I think he calls it the Depression trilogy. I always hear other people calling it. I'm not sure.
So it's pretty movies.
The 3 movies: Antichrist, Melancholia, and Nymphomaniac.
Nymphomaniac though was I thought there was more than one of those, right?
It's 2 volumes, but that makes it 1 movie.
Oh, okay, cool.
Kind of like
Kill Bill.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Do you think Willem Dafoe knew what he was getting into going to this movie? Antichrist?
I don't think he does, but knowing the age that he did, or knowing the age that he is when he did this movie, and plus all the work he's already done, I don't feel like he has anything to prove. I think he's just having fun at this time.
Yeah.
But then there is again where some older actors do choose certain films, and maybe he just has a mind where he wants to go further. You know how like Nicolas Cage is even going further in his like he'll set himself back maybe a movie, like he'll make Mandy, and then he'll make something like Primal, where he's a tiger hunter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he goes back into a movie where he's making Color Out of Space, and then he goes back to a regular movie. It's like, I wonder if that's
what he goes into a movie where he's a janitor at an amusement park fighting off animatronics.
Exactly.
I'm still looking forward to that, but
me too. It just sounds weird, but I feel like Willem Dafoe is in that same category as Nicolas Cage. He's not as wild, but I think he could be wild if he let himself out more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he had the opportunity to do that type of scene.
If he can go Green Goblin on everybody.
Yes.
On everybody. He should have done that from the very beginning with Charlotte Gainsbourg, but he had to save it for the end. When she starts doing shit to him.
I mean, the lines that he had in Spider-Man was very Nicolas Cage type lines and acting. Like, wait, what? Why did you say it that way? I'm a scientist myself. So
Willem Dafoe, like you give him something to work with, and I can't say that I've ever heard a bad performance from him.
Right, and of course we love the Lighthouse. That was perfect that he was in.
Yes,
I feel
that
like
was impeccable.
Well, obviously the Lighthouse was way after, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we could see where he keeps going from now. Like, I'm sure after he watched that movie, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna get more into these type of movies, these weird movies." I think Robert Pattinson too. He's probably like, "I want to step out of my zone. I want to step out of my character." And I think that's what more actors should do.
Mm-hmm. He hated Twilight so much. He had to go into. It took him Good Times.
5 to 6 movies to forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Antichrist here. It's funny because when you think of also the title, you think of like religion, and which is not too much into it, right? It's like it's very soft about it, but then again, it does escalate without having to get like it doesn't get into the Bible.
Yeah, he's like a therapist, and he's going over a grieving Charlotte Gainsbourg after the death of their son. Just kind of like trying to figure out, kind of like poke her brain on, kind of to get her out of this funk.
Yeah.
And asking her, like, what's your greatest fears? And she brings up the cabin, or the forest. Yeah. And also going to the cabin in the woods, which I guess is, like, from... Like, either a relative owned it, but they call it Eden.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she brings up...
Which is a reference to probably Garden of Eden, I'm guessing.
It's like paradise, supposedly. And she also brings up...
if you think about it too, sorry to interrupt, but if you think about it too, when they bring up Eden, it's almost like this movie has a male and female only, basically, right? And just like the Garden of Eden story is just Adam and Eve. So it's almost like an Adam and Eve story too, like a dark, twisted version of it. Like they try to have a kid, but she fucked it all up, you know. But anyways, yeah. Sorry.
There's that, and then also she brings up her greatest fear was the devil, but that also changes too because it comes from like forest to the devil to nature. It's just all over the place. And also to kind of go back to what I was saying earlier, Lars Von Trier was making this movie. He was in a depressive state. Like the beginning prologue was more streamlined. It told more about what was going on and what was going to happen, but once we go into the movie, everything is kind of going on seemingly without so much reason, and I think that's where Lars Von Trier tapped into more of his id. That's kind of how I feel like he did the rest of this movie, because we get a lot of crazy imagery. We get the deer giving birth to the dead fetus. That leaves a lot of questions, but also a lot to be interpreted. Yeah. Because it's not very clear on exactly what the movie is going for.
But it's not messy either.
Yeah, it does definitely has some things to say.
Yeah.
As well as mainly kind of from what I get that even Charlotte Gainsbourg brings it up early in the movie, you can't be a therapist can't treat their own family relatives. I imagine would not go well at all, because it's clear as the movie goes on, she goes from being depressed to where she can't even move. She even has issues walking on grass barefoot. Willem Dafoe has to help carry her across from one stone to the next. And then there's also scenes where she's able to kind of carry herself. She's more clear-minded, and then the next she starts going insane and bashing Willem Dafoe over with a 2x4.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of uncomfortable scenes that were happening there.
You can't really tell where the story is going. It's not really a and I love that structure.
I love non-predictable movies.
Yeah.
Which are all the movies that you show me. I have no idea what the fuck's about to happen. I felt eeriness throughout most of the movie, and also dirtiness too, you know? Yeah. Well, I felt dirtiness more towards the end. Yeah.
That's like not just that they're hanging out in the cabin in the woods. Like the nature is kind of overcoming them. You have the acorns falling on top of their tin roof, kind of like piercing your ears. And also Willem Dafoe, he wakes up with his hand covered in ticks. That's really gross. Self-mutilation is also as well. It's like one of the few things in movies that'll get me to feel something is self-mutilation. I think that's why I love the Saw movies so much, because a lot of the times they have to cut themselves open, or
The first one?
they're in some sort of brace that puts them in a lot of pain that they need to try to unlock themselves out of.
Yeah.
It's just one of those few things that actually gets me feeling uncomfortable, and
yeah,
it's hard to find that in movies for me. Going into those scenes, especially at the end, you said that they were probably the two most scarring like moments in movies you've ever seen.
Yeah. Yes, they were.
And people don't know what we're talking about. One scene involves 2x4 and bloody ejaculate. That's right, bloody ejaculate. The other scene involves rusty scissors.
Let's talk about one at a time.
All right.
The 2x4 to the balls wasn't. Well, the thing was, I think he was hard too at the time. I think they were about to do it. They were about to have sex, right? I think they were about to have sex. He got hard, and all of a sudden, I forgot what happened after that. They just started fighting, and then it led to her just getting wild. And by the way, we're at a scene where this is where the movie really starts to take a curve.
Yeah.
Like they try to argue here and there, but it just ends up in sex, which we saw earlier a couple times. But then this time they try to do it again, but then that arguing and sex thing did not work out this time. It ended up being a 2x4 into the balls of William Dafoe, and he took it like a champ. Not really.
Just passed right out, which is a good thing that he did.
Yes, and so it knocked him out, and apparently he's still hard because the movie made us realize that. And she basically gets on top of him and finishes him off.
Yep.
And not only does he finish him off, but that was not sperm coming out of there.
Oh no.
Or could have been. Could have been sperm mixed mixed with blood. I'm very confused. What?
We don't see that every day.
Yeah, you don't see that every day.
Hope you don't see it ever.
But yeah, that was that scene. Blood ejaculation.
It also kind of like brings up again, like she is just like highly like in this state of just manic and depressive, and it's like you kind of realize that that's really the root of her, of like that's her deal. That's the real root of her mental issues, is that, and she's not getting any help from going out to this forest. What she really needs is a competent therapist, a competent psychiatrist, not Willem Dafoe, and also proper medication. And hopefully she could have lived a normal life after everything that was going on, or really just after the death of her son, but she never got that.
No, she didn't.
And even then, after all the fucked up, horrible shit that she did to her son, just that kind of overlooked, untreated mental state of mind.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's on streaming anywhere. But I would recommend picking up the Criterion Collection Blu-ray or DVD, which is what I have. I have the Blu-ray. Yeah. That's what we watched it on.
Get that shit in your collection. Show your girlfriend. Did you want to talk about that other scene, or did we pass that part?
We can skip over it. We didn't.
Okay.
I forgot to bring it up. But.
That's okay. Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
Maybe. We'll save it for anybody, for it'll be a nice surprise.
Yeah. So
for anybody that watches
there's another scene that's just as bad as the ejaculating blood part.
If not worse.
If not worse, it's just right up there.
I think we're ready to rate it.
That's Antichrist. It's got a 6.6 out of 10. Do you want to rate it first?
6.66 out of 10.
I know, that's what I was thinking too.
6.6 out of 6.
It would be a 6.6 though. It would try to get as close as the 6s as it could. They're like, we can't add that extra 6. But yeah, 6.6 out of 10. When do you want to go for it? You want to rate it first, or you want me to rate it first?
I'll go ahead and rate it. Okay. Round it out to a 7, maybe a 7.5, but I'm fine with just a 7.
All right, 7. Man, these are the type of movies that make it hard to judge, like rate what a movie is and what it shouldn't be. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost
Like
like
I could probably help out by explaining my side.
Okay.
The movies that I like to rate higher up are ones that really kind of get me going. They get me in a certain mood. I'm just like, yeah, I'm watching this. I'm down to watch this. Not necessarily, it could be like a good feeling or a bad feeling, but still, I'm invested in it. Usually, things that'll help me with that are like narrative structure, great impeccable cinematography, and great music. While the Antichrist had like amazing cinematography, it was like a little lacking in story, and before it was still like performed like brilliantly by both Charlotte Gainsbourg and Willem Dafoe, as well as music. Like I don't really remember much of it. I just remember like high pitched noises and that one opera lady singing that song that I can't pronounce the name to.
Oh.
Like they were like it wasn't bad, definitely far from it, but it just wasn't like it doesn't get me, like I don't feel the same kind of excitement watching Antichrist as I do watching something like Phantom of the Opera or Scott Pilgrim versus the World or The Holy Mountain.
Well, with all that said, you gave it a 7, right?
That's right.
I'm gonna have to go with a 7 too.
All right.
I was thinking more of a 7.5, just because I'm probably gonna remember this film for certain things for quite a while, and
definitely remember certain points of it. And not exactly. I wouldn't even call it a guilty pleasure, which is what I usually rate like a 6.
This was beyond your human like thinking type thing. how the way people look at relationship,
because it's definitely a subconscious kind of movie.
This was not a happy relationship even throughout the whole movie.
Oh no.
And there was never really any happy scenes. So so
if anybody wants to have a bad time, should definitely check out Antichrist by Lars Von Trier.
Or interesting time. Interesting bad time.
Wraps it up for you. I say that wraps it up for me.
Yes.
All right. Very exciting stuff we saw this past week. I dig it.
Me too.
So,
interesting
thank
movies.
you, everybody, for listening in. And be sure to check us out next time for more weird movies that make us confused and just like, why? But also just...
Yep. Never know what mashups we're gonna get.
Yes. So thank you all for listening.
Thank
Check
you.
us out next time. You have a good one.